Simple batting skills or bowling skills or fielding skills will not make it. Cricket, they say match temperament, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll try something very simple. I'll try to share my iPad. Just let's see if that works.
Yeah.
Um,
Hi, Yadu. Jay Yadav. Good evening. Good evening. Yadu, Jay Yadav, welcome to our sessions. Um, Honestly, I don't remember having interacted with you earlier, but happy to have you. Or maybe some name that we are missing. Hi, Sanjashri. Sanjashri, okay. Sanjashri, test first ho gaya? Okay. Your tests are done. Come and sit. It's a good relaxation. Hi, Ritika. T4Q. T4Q is what? Rohit, good evening. Good evening. Dave, your screen is blank.
yeah,
Trying
let
something?
me see if you can see it. I'm just
Okay. Sam Joseph, Aditya Kumar. Good evening. I don't know, Dave, if you have interacted with some of them on the um, Telegram group, but happy to have as many people joining us.
yeah.
There you are. There you
Are
are.
you now able to see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. I can
Let
see
me
it.
see if I can see my screen or not.
But you have shared the screen. Why can't you see your screen?
Yeah, so just give me a second. I think this is just um,
Prince, Prajwal, Shri M8O. Shri, the same Shri who is in the batches with us. Hi, Jay. Prince 007. 007, you are always sought after. Military intelligence, yeah.
yes, yes. So Shabbir, I just want to see how this is looking um, in the screen. So is it coming out clearly
It's
or
fine. It's slightly blurred, but I think that's fine. I mean, it's readable. It's clear. No issues. No issues.
okay?
You have, I think, also zoomed in, so it's great.
Okay.
Okay, Shri. Shri, how did your test go? Rajwal, how was your test? Sanjay Shri, these sessions, I was telling the students, once you're done with the tests, this could be good relaxation. Just sit back, listen to the story, some discussions. Okay. Uh,
Absolutely.
it'll be
Let
nice
me say,
unwinding. It'll be nice unwinding.
yeah, let me say hello, Yadu, Jay Yadav, Sanja Shikhot, Ritika, Rohit, Sam Joseph, Aditya, Jay Yadav. Okay, Shri, Prajwal, Prince, Anamika. Excellent. All right. We have a lot of people today, so I think it'll be interesting. Can't wait to get started.
Yeah, we also have Debarga. Yeah, let's start. It's time now. 35, so 5 minutes past. Others will join us. First of all, I must thank all of you joining us. It's a exciting initiative, at least for me and Dave. Something we have always wanted to do. I'll tell you one thing, guys. Even while talking to students in the interview training, uh, there is one thing that stands out. Candidates who have been reading books and courses, uh, books also more or less GS books, and candidates who have a more wider reading. They have read novels other than course books. They have exposed themselves to writers. The way they talk, the way they discuss things, the way they relate issues is qualitatively different from the mechanical GS reading, course material, booklets. And something I cannot ignore is that ultimately, आप IAS बनो, IPS बनो, whatever, IFS, it's not a job. It's a different type of career where your personality matters. You are a critical thinking person. You are going to take decisions. You're going to be talking to some of the best brains of the world, not just country. There are intellectuals, there are leaders, very powerful leaders. Imagine you are an ambassador of India to a country and you're dealing with some of the very powerful political leaders who otherwise, literally can, bulldoze through you, bulldoze over you. So you have to have that kind of a compelling personality, a person who is, well read, a person who understands what's happening. So all of this is not possible if you do not read beyond the prescribed syllabus. And to be very honest, most of us हम क्या करते हैं? हम processed material पढ़ते हैं, processed booklets, processed guidebooks, processed notes. Okay, so if you are, that's one of the things I think many of you have told that to me, sir, how to develop a personality, how to have confidence in what we speak, how to have opinions or how to have insights. Like that's when Dave suggested and we thought through that this could be very nice. And contents from this can also be part of essays. In fact, ultimately, essay is what we're discussing. Okay, so just kicking off the process, Dave, your wise words, what you think
Yeah,
about
yeah. I
this?
think, see, first of all, it was not my idea. It was the students, you all asked for it. So I'm glad we're doing it. And like I always say, before writing comes thinking, right? I always tell you, don't jump into writing, think. And before thinking comes reading, right? You are able to think different dimensions if you have read. So some days back I shared an article with you that came on Substack that talked about in the new generation how reading habit is going down and social media consumption is going up at almost the same rate. And what is happening is that a lot of us are actually consuming this content which is synthesized, which Shabbir just talked about. And there is severe danger of doing that because the process of synthesizing is what makes your brain better.
Yeah,
If you don't synthesize it yourself, then it is like, okay, तुम किसी और का चाट खा रहे हो, right? चाट बनाना कभी सीख नहीं पाओगे. So I think this is the fundamental of how to build good essay, good personality, be better in interviews, so many other things. So I'm glad we're doing this. Shabir, now let's come to the book. Why did we choose this? Your thoughts on 1984, sorry, not 1984, Animal Farm. I'm sorry.
the animal farm.
And, given everything that's going on, I'd love to have your thoughts and then I'll add mine.
Uh,
Cricket Shots has joined us. This is a huge moment because
yeah.
Cricket Shots, we always wait for you because of your name, of course. Not to mention others, we absolutely love all of you, having all of you around. Kaushik, Consciousness, Alpha Zero. Okay, great. Welcome back. Yeah, Shabir.
Today, one thing that we have talked about, I've read about is how do hierarchies in societies develop? How do some people become powerful? How do some people, accumulate all that influence? And how do some people, despite their skills, good intentions, they remain the masses who are aspirational, but they never really are decisive in shaping, deciding, okay, the course of the society or history. How is power acquired? So a very old thinking about power is power comes from power. Okay, military power, money power. Power comes from weapons. You fight war and win things. That's only one part of the story. A very interesting aspect of power is that lot of power comes from how the people in power build stories and narratives. It's actually the power of words. It's actually the power of how some things are interpreted and how stories are told. So I think how stories are told and how power ultimately resides in some people, it is beautifully through this allegory, through this story called Animal Farm. Like Animal Farm kind of represents a society, the haves, the have-nots, the powerful ones, the workers, some sincere people, some scheming, manipulative, Machiavellian characters. There's a very nice representation of society, and you can see this in whatever we talk about around us, be it the rise of America, the rise of colonial powers, in India also, the rise of certain powerful groups. You talk about the rise of globalization, how it was misused. So my inspiration is Animal Farm kind of summarizes the entire political story of our civilization. It summarizes how power games are played and how some people, again, they don't win always by force and by brute physical power. They win, again, building stories and narratives. Okay, so that was the idea why I thought this could be nice, relevant to whatever we see around us.
Yeah, and
Then,
Shabbir, to add to that, I think the book is like 102 pages, which is also another thing why I love this book. It's short, it is packed with value. And the other thing is, George Orwell wrote this as a parody of the Russian Revolution. And the Russian Revolution stands for so many things like, what I have noted here, power and corruption, leadership and responsibility. We can discuss topics around ethics and morality, equality, social justice, ideology versus reality. There are many things at play here, right? Many dichotomies that are at play here, and we'll show you a little bit of that as we go along. Now, you can imagine that there is so much in it because if you look at some of the PYQs, right? Can you recall like good exercise? Folks on YouTube, folks on Zoom. Can you give me some examples of PYQs that map to these themes? I can remember certainly a few. Um, and when it comes to power, there are so many of them, right? People that value their privilege above its principle loses both. That was a good one. I think it was 2017 or 18. With great power comes great responsibility. I think that obviously you had anything else. What comes to your mind? Shabir, any PYQs you recall?
I think there was one on how politics without ethics is a great threat to human rights. It was, I think, politics without ethics is a great threat to human rights, 2020. And uh, be the change you want to see in others. It is a great threat. Yeah, THREAT, yeah, threat.
Yeah.
Then one was 2013, be the change you want to see in others.
Yes.
Be the change. This was 2013. A society that has lost its memory is a society that has lost its soul.
Wow.
Society that has lost its memory is a society that has lost its soul. 2019 question.
Yeah. And then I
Yeah,
remember, I think another one that's a favorite of mine, it's poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world.
yeah, yeah,
This is a great one because you can see that an author is looking at an actual event in history, retelling it and telling us what actually happened, what happened in the means. And this is, Shabir, something that you and I were discussing earlier, that a lot of these things like Germany, Nazi Germany, it's not like everyone in Germany was evil, right? But something happened during the period where Nazism took effect. Some bit of it was patriotism, some bit of it was, extreme nationalism, some bit of it was, ethnic pride, whatever you call it. Slowly it took form.
yeah. Consumed.
As they say that, remember the frog and the boiling water. If you increase the temperature of the water bit by bit, the frog doesn't know, and eventually it becomes too unbearable. So, um, I think this is a significant thing. And you mentioned recent events, the rise of Trump, and what he's doing to the world. There is so much in it. So I think there's some examples.
Yeah,
Sir Kaushik saying, "Sir, I must emphasize, you make us feel that we are heard."
of course,
Okay,
yeah,
absolutely, Kaushik.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Alpha
Yeah, and
Zero
Dave
says,
can't be speaking to the walls, right, or the screen that is blank. So happy
yeah,
to have you, talk to you, and what exciting is you all are learning. What else can we want? Yeah, yes, yes.
Aditya,
Good.
great example. Anyone can stand adversity, but to check true character, give them power. I
I
think
think
that's
this one fits the book brilliantly.
yeah,
Anyone
yeah,
can stand adversity, but to check true character, give them power. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So let's dive in, Shabir. I think we talked a little bit about the overall need why we chose this book. Now, a quick deep dive into the characters. I wanted to make sure. See, each character, it's a reflection of um, Russian Revolution, as I said. So I think we must, talk a little bit about the characters. The lead character in here is somebody called Napoleon. Do you any guesses? Anybody has read this book? Anybody has read a summary? At least you should have read a summary. Do you remember anything? Who Napoleon actually was in real life? Who's the real life counterpart?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Too obvious the difference.
Yeah, so definitely it was not
Empire builder.
Napoleon,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it was Stalin, right? So Napoleon is a character in this book that was modeled after Stalin, who is the authoritarian. Then we have Snowball, and we'll introduce these characters quickly as we go through. We don't have to read the entire book. We have selected 10 small pieces that we'll touch, but we'll go through the entire book in sequence so you know the story too. Snowball was modeled after, yes, Alpha Zero. You're saying Snowball. Tell me who Snowball was modeled after. Somebody who fought in the Russian Revolution but later on was sidelined, marginalized, eventually assassinated. um, Trotsky. If you don't know these people, look them up. Then I think that's this is where we'll start, is a speech by Old Major. And Old Major is someone who is modeled after Karl Marx or Lenin, right?
Lenin.
He's talking about the uh, vision, the idea, or the origination of the revolution. And then there are other characters. I don't want to talk about all of them, but Squealer was the person who was doing the propaganda, and
If you know the propaganda guy for Nazis.
yeah.
So
We had Boxer, who's the working class. Boxer was a horse who did all the hard work, and well, I think I don't know why I lost some of my this thing, but Snowball, Old Major, I had Squealer and Boxer and Molly. Those are some of the characters. So Molly is basically the bourgeois, and I think you know these terms, right? So Boxer is the working class. What is the working class called in the context of Russian Revolution? Do you know?
in the name of who the entire revolution was fought, justified the entire revolution as something that was benefiting the working class.
Yeah.
Okay. And who is the bourgeois? Bourgeois, the rich elite, bourgeois are, those wealthy nobles. Okay. The bourgeois. Its opposite are the working class.
Yeah. So proletariats and the bourgeois. So let's go through it. I think we have introduced some of the characters. And Shabbir, I know your favorite part is right here. So I call this the philosophical foundation, right? The philosophical foundation comes early. It is around page 12 or 13, somewhere around that. And here we are talking about somebody like a Lenin or a Marx, who's a leader, talking about what's wrong in the world. Shabbir, I'll read a little bit and then you can throw in your comments.
Yeah.
No animal in England knows the meaning of happiness or leisure after he is a year old. No animal in England is free. Misery and slavery, and that is the plain truth. So the whole idea is you are in a rut, right? So he's telling, this is old Major, he's saying that you are in a rut, your life is hell, and therefore what? Therefore we need to do something about it. So why then do we continue in this miserable condition? Because the whole of the produce is stolen by human beings. So basically what he's saying is that you are in a rut because of human beings. Shabbir, this is very interesting because I think clearly it is saying to the people that people, you are suffering today and the villain is X, right? So he's defining the villain and the sufferers. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so if I want to add something here, see guys, what's happening is this is true about any major political revolution. Okay, when it involves masses, be it your Russian Revolution, be it your French Revolution, even in India to some extent, the rise of the common man. You talk about the American Civil War, for that matter. So how you coax a entire population into a revolution is to tell them about their sufferings. You tell them about how they're exploited. You tell them about how they are suffering pain, trauma, and very important is that you have to have a villain. Somebody must be a villain. Okay, so you are a backward people, the villain is the high class. You are the backward people, the villain is the king. You are suffering because somebody else is taking your money. ये बहुत common formula है ना, the टूल किट बोलते हैं ना, ये टूल किट है. सो एनिमल फार्म का जो स्टोरी है वो शुरू होता है विद दिस फार्म कॉल्ड एज अ मैनर, जिसमें कि एनिमल्स रहते हैं. An old major is something like somebody like Lenin or Marx, जो भड़का रहा है animals को. You guys are working hard, you guys produce all the things, and the villain called human being is taking away everything. So this is the first step in something like indoctrination बोल लो. Okay, और ये बहुत famous speech है, ये आप कहीं लिख लो. It's called as the Beasts of England. Okay, this speech is talked about as a beautiful example of how the common man's pain is beautifully represented. Okay, so Beasts of England is something like those famous speeches otherwise. Okay, तो ये वहां शुरू हुआ. And this guy called Old Major, in this book he's a pig. He's trying to arouse the sentiments there. Okay, so yeah, the common. So वैसे ही आपका जब जर्मनी में देखोगे आप, okay, the Jews were painted as the villains, and the idea was, okay, all Germans rise up. The Jews are taking all your money. America में, okay, the common man, all common men rise up. The migrants are taking your rights, taking away your job. Brexit में, all the Englishmen rise up. Again, the other Europeans, they will take. You talk about any kind of जहाँ पर serial genocide होता है. Okay, what's happening in Israel or Gaza? Okay, all the Israelis rise up. Gazas are worse than animals type. So you dehumanize somebody, okay, and paint him as the villain. Okay, so yeah, Deb, I shared my idea.
No, that's great. And hopefully, and I turned the iPad so you guys can get a better view.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Now, the key thing, if you haven't read this book, as Shabbir said, here's a farm. There are animals in it. Mr. Jones is the person who's running the farm, and the farm animals led by this old major. He's an old guy who's obviously kind of the conscience of the animals, and he may have said it in all sincerity, right? He may have said it in all sincerity. This is his idea that, okay, you are suffering and Jones is taking away everything from you, and you see cows, you are suffering, should have been breeding up sturdy calves. Every drop of it has gone down the throats of our enemies, hence you're losing your eggs. Clover, you lost your foals. So he's basically giving examples and telling how you are all suffering because of human beings, right? And there is more and more. And not just that you have suffered, but this is how you will end up. So he says, Jones will sell you to the knacker, will cut your throat, boil you, do whatever that he needs to do after you stop being valuable to him, right? So he will kill you, or he will skin you alive and use your skin and all that. So tyranny of human beings, he has established the evil, right? And therefore what, right? This is the rebellion. So he's establishing that you are suffering, he's establishing there is a villain, he's establishing how you will suffer in future, and then say call to action. So this is, people who are in MBA will call CTA, right? Call to action. And basically, he says that here's what we need to do. And then he says, among us animals, let there be perfect unity. Let us stand united. This is the next step. Well, once you have established that there needs to be rebellion, you say that let's be united. All men are enemies, all animals are comrades. So Alpha Zero, absolutely, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. It's coming up. It's coming up. So all animals are comrades. So after establishing this, I think I'll short circuit. There is basically a Beasts of England, poem that becomes the poem of the farm, right? So animal starts reciting this poem. There is a lot of metaphor in this poem, but I fast forwarded to something called the Seven Commandments. And you will see that once a rebellion is defined, you need to define the charter. That is when it becomes real. So, the founding charter essentially that Snowball, Squealer, they were all one team. Now they are defining the charter. This is what we must do. Okay, so this is Alpha Zero. This is where four legs good kind of comes. Whatever goes upon two legs is my enemy. Whatever goes upon four legs is a friend. No animal shall wear clothes. No animal shall sleep in the bed. So basically, they're defining what the enemy does and saying that you must not do this. And eventually, you will see that as we see post rebellion, post the revolution, there is a reduction in value. There is moral degradation, and with that moral degradation, these commandments change. So sometimes we in the real world, things like changing of the constitution, okay, to benefit those who are in power. So this is a key aspect. In America, for example, Trump is saying that he will change the constitution to make sure he can run for the third time. Okay, there are ways, he says, right? So that this is an example of how people in power become depraved and they change what the original idea of the founding fathers is. So anyway, Shabbir, any points?
Yeah. I was waiting to add here. This commandment, अगर आप इसको देखोगे ना, it's something called as othering of a population. आप साथ रहते थे, मिलके रहते थे, एक ग्रुप को आपने कह दिया कि वो अलग लोग हैं, वो अदर्स हैं, और वो जो भी करते हैं हम वो नहीं करेंगे. You're othering anybody who walks in two legs. You're othering anybody who is wearing clothes. You're othering anybody who sleeps on a bed. Othering anybody who drinks alcohol. Okay, and this group which is othering, वो अपने आप में बोलेंगे हम तो united रहेंगे. We have to be equal. We have to fight together. So you have done two things. You have defined an enemy. Number two, you have dehumanized an enemy. Okay, and third, that enemy is something you should not become, neither should you adopt. आप जितने भी violence देखते हो ना, racial violence हो, communal violence हो, caste violence हो, okay, all this violence are based on some of these kind of ideas. The othering and the dehumanization. And इतने powerfully ये drive होता है, okay, that you don't even realize it's happening. And you codify कर दिया जाता है, codified in some books, and very rightly, Kaushik says, it's almost like, Dathar Ahmed says, it's almost like Athar Ahmed. He says, like a Magna Carta of the farm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's something like the Magna Carta, the rule book. Okay, it's almost like the code on which the population starts thinking, living, interacting on. Okay, so yeah, Dave.
Yeah, so अभी 7 commandments लिख दिए animals, right? अभी आगे क्या होता है देखते हैं. I will fast forward to the next section. Emergence of a new ruling class. So rebellion के पहले, rebellion हो गया. So this is, in the meantime, and that I have not, that's just a, factual thing. I have not highlighted that. But imagine rebellion ho gaya, Jones is now out of the farm, and the animals are in power, and they form a structure, and there is a new ruling class that has emerged. Okay, there's a new ruling class that has emerged, and here you will see this is a very, very interesting piece of um, you know prose here. Milk and apples. This has been approved by science. Contains substances absolutely necessary to the well-being of a pig. So he is saying, according to science, this is what pigs need. Pigs are brain workers, and the farm depends on us. Day and night, we are watching over your welfare. It is for your sake that we drink milk and eat those apples. Do you know what would happen if pigs failed in their duty? Jones would come back. Jones would come back. Surely you don't want that, right? Now, if there was one thing that the animals were completely certain of, it was that they did not want Jones back. And so they agreed to give the pigs basically the milk and the apples. So it was agreed without further argument that the milk and windfall apples should be reserved for the pigs alone. Okay, so this is the emergence of a new ruling class, and clearly they are using a version of truth or bending truth, science proved by science, that they're using their own narrative to create more privilege for themselves. So this is a very, very interesting thing, and it happens everywhere. Shabbir, any thoughts?
Dave, in fact, I would start with a few lines of this paragraph. You can scroll down, scroll up rather. Yeah, it says, comrades, see, essentially, remember that the whole revolution was about the right of the workers. The whole revolution was about the right of the farmers, the peasants, the factory workers, and that the factory workers were exploited, and all the benefits went to the rich, class. All the benefits was with the bourgeois and all of that. The whole revolution was driven, as a welfare for the common man. Now, when the revolution is over, the people who led the revolution with whatever story they had, now they start taking power for themselves. And Ishurota, their comrades, he cried, you do not imagine, I hope, that we pigs are doing this in spirit of selfishness or privilege. Many of us actually dislike milk and apples. I dislike them myself. It's like, we don't like these privileges, but majboori hai, hame chahiye. We don't like all this. There are a lot of examples where, the common man, wanted a palatial house for himself. The common man suddenly wants Z security because he's important to take care of the others. The common man, we will not name the leaders here. I'm sure you can relate to who we're talking about. The leaders who call themselves as, we are the selfless people, and now they can't survive without the most, the costliest imported car. Abhi suna tha beech mein Lokpal, how they made ruckus out of demanding BMWs. They ordered BMWs for themselves because apparently that's important for their for the duty and role that they're performing. So this is that backdoor entry of how the leaders who were supposed to drive the interest of common man, now themselves are now usurping power. Give yourself some seconds and see if you can relate it. आपको examples अगर आपके पास हैं तो yes, feel free to share it, or at least think about it. Yeah, Dave. Yes. So
Kaushik, absolutely right. Putin changing it often to remain the president of Russia. That's a great example. Yes. So so let's keep going. I think the next piece after this comes when
इसका good example होगा even the Pakistan army.
Yeah.
To keep themselves relevant, to keep them in power, they keep on building this villain called India, and how they need to be in power, otherwise India will do this, that, So you think about all of that. All family-run political parties in India have similar. It's not just about politics; it's also about business. जहां पर भी पावर होता है ना, this is the drama that happens. Yeah, Dave, continue.
Yeah.
The bourgeois. Yeah.
So now let's come to the bourgeois. The bourgeois basically, as Shabbir pointed out, people who value luxuries, comfort, social status over freedom, right? Some people are like that. We like what we have, we like our conveniences, we like our things. They will not risk, they're not risk takers, and they stand to lose more, right? So they're not risk takers and cannot even choose or sometimes even choose to be subservient to protect what they have, right? So this is the idea. And they're in the farm, they're talking about this uh, character called Molly. Now when what happens is they're saying that Molly wanted some sugar, and somebody discovered Molly's in Molly's stall there was a little pile of lump of sugar, several bunches of ribbon. She liked sugar and ribbons of different color, and Molly disappeared after some days. Nothing was known about her whereabouts. Pigeons reported that they had seen her on the other side of Willingdon, and a fat red-faced man in cheek breeches and gaiters, who looked like a publican, was stroking her nose and feeding her with sugar. Somebody was giving her convenience. Her coat was newly clipped. She wore a scarlet ribbon. She appeared to be enjoying herself. So the pigeons said, none of the animals ever mentioned Molly again. So basically what happened is this character wanted the conveniences, so she's like, oh no, I don't have anything to do with the rebellion. So she finds the convenience, she chooses a path where she is subservient to somebody who is making sure that her convenience are protected, and she leaves. So this is a classic explanation of how the bourgeois respond to something like this to protect what they have. Okay. So Shabbir, in the interest of time, I'll keep going.
Yeah.
The next one is the windmill, and this is a very interesting point where the animals start debating that they should create a windmill in the farm. This is a huge development project, and it will give them so many different things. It'll run like a circular saw, it'll be a chaff cutter, it'll be a mangle slicer, electric milking machine. So basically this stands for development projects. How people in power sometimes use development projects as a distraction to manipulate public opinion. Oh yes, we are working on infrastructure, we are bringing in factories, will change the reality of the ecosystem, and eventually what they are trying to do is create distraction so that they can continue to be in power. They actually do not have real intention behind it. And there are some people, it is not like all evil, right? So in this case, Snowball conjured up pictures of fantastic machine. He actually believed that there is a thought process, there is some output that you will get out of it. And eventually you'll see that there is a barrier, or there is a war, or there is a battle of sorts that happens between the people who just want to hold on to the power and people who really want or believed in the revolution, believed in the commandments, and want to do something different, something meaningful. Okay, so this is up to this point, Napoleon and Snowball are in sync,
On the same side.
on the same side. Yeah. So Caution.
I'll just add here,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Trotsky, the man around which this scatter is made, he was one of the brains of the revolution, like a Bolshevik revolution, the rise of the common man, whatever, Lenin. He was a brain. He was one of the man who designed the army, who designed the entire revolution. He was a firm believer of yes, common good and communism, and take it to the whole world. Okay, and Stalin and all of them were on one side. But after revolution, Stalin and Trotsky kind of completely went different path. In fact, Trotsky was exiled, like Deb said, and he was killed. He was assassinated. Okay, so man who was the brain of revolution in terms of operation logistics, he ultimately was kicked out. Okay, so here we have one group who were the rich bourgeois who were scared to speak, and they value their comfort more. They will not rebel. The brains who made it happen, some of them will speak up. Ultimately, they will be chased out. The snowball represents that. Okay, the innovation which the authoritarian systems will not tolerate beyond a point, as long as they're serving their interests. Fine, otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, so this is page 41, and look what happens between page 41 and page 44. Page 44, Snowball is chased out of the farm, right? Opposition is neutralized. Let's read a little bit. At this, there was a terrible baying and sound, and 9 enormous dogs wearing brass-studded collars came bounding into the barn. They dashed straight for Snowball, snapping jaws, and in a moment, out of the door they were after him, too amazed and frightened. Snowball was racing across. Suddenly he slipped, it made certain that they had him. He was up again, running faster. Anyway, vagara vagara. Snowball's tail, with a few inches to spare, slipped through a hole in the hedge, was seen no more. So he was chased out of the farm. So between 41 and 44 page, a significant transformation happens, that this person who stood, who believed in the windmill, believed in the development project, was becoming sort of the voice of the people, and people are looking up to him, is now neutralized. He's sent out, chased out of the farm, and he becomes because he becomes a threat. Opposition is a threat. Opposition has to be neutralized, because not because of any moral or ideological difference. It is just that this person is becoming a threat to me, and his expulsion sort of marks a moment. This is a key moment, Shabbir, I felt when I read this book. This is a key moment because here, I think, from revolution, it takes a turn towards dictatorship.
And brute force, not just dictatorship, brute force, and with agenda obvious now.
Yeah.
The dog is there, all can see him. Now the masses who are inspired, now they are put to place. Okay, now you can't challenge the power anymore. Okay,
Yes.
the fangs are out, the gloves are off. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, and there are so many examples in the world out there of this, not just in the revolution, but in the current day. Think about it.
Dave, I do not, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Can I say Elon Musk was the snowball for the present regime? I
think so. I feel like Elon Musk is somebody who at least believed in what he was trying to do. He had an agenda, but his agenda was not just like running the country, right? Power over people. Although in some ways that he also was looking for some sort of power, But if you look at it, how some of the institutions of the government in US, just take US for an example, um, the FBI, if you have seen how some of the recent news about how FBI is working, how ICE is working, these are institutions of the government. FBI is to protect law and order inside the intelligence inside this nation. ICE is about immigration. So a lot of these structures are actually being used to hunt down the opposition and systematically decimate them. And this is a classic, reason, or classic symptom rather, that dictatorship it's moving down this route. So yeah, so snowball is gone. Let's see what happens next. We go to chapter 6, and this is the moment where,
Laws not changed.
yeah, now we are establishing the dictator. So let's see how Orwell does that. Throughout the spring and summer, they worked 60-hour weeks, and in August, Napoleon announced, Napoleon, not a party, not people, not consensus, not votes, not referendum, nothing, right? Napoleon announced there would be work on Sunday afternoons. Okay, some other examples further down. Boxer would never listen. His two slogans, I'll work harder, Napoleon is always right. It has come into the common sort of dialogue, right? Common discussion in the country, in the farm, that Napoleon is always right. Seems,
What in today's parlance, I mean, I'm risking it, but the idea of andhbhakt jo hai,
exactly.
nothing can go wrong. Okay, so
Correct.
Napoleon is right. The leadership is always right.
Absolutely. And then the next step is Napoleon announced. So you see, there are many things that Napoleon is doing. That he announced that there is a new policy. He announced that you need to work more. He announced he is always right. So these are ways that Orwell tells us that he's in power. Napoleon had made all the arrangements. Here's another example. So like this, it goes on, and eventually it says it was absolutely necessary, he said, that the pigs, who are the brains, should have a quiet place to work in. It was also more suited to the dignity of the leader. Okay, so I think, Shabbir, this is a very interesting piece, because this is the first time Napoleon is referred to in caps, the leader. So compare that with the Führer, right? Or similar things, how dictators are addressed. So I thought that was really key in this step.
Yeah.
It says, for of late he had taken to speaking of Napoleon under the title of the leader. So leader could not live in a mere sty, and he used really the best real estate available in the farm, that goes to Napoleon. So so I think this is establishment of Napoleon at its peak. Let's see what happens next. Any guesses, Shabbir? I know you know this.
Laws will change.
Laws will change. So I think the next step is unique. It's talks about how it actually peaks. The authoritarianism peaks. So after the announcement of the leader or the Führer, or however, like this caps, all caps description of the leading person, they have a ode. They have a ode to the person. They have a poem. This is like allegiance. So it says, "Oh, comrade Napoleon, you are so great. Thou are the giver. Thy creatures love. Vagara vagara." Right. So this
You can
goes.
compare this with the kind of adulation that Kim Jong Un sees in North Korea.
Yeah.
Okay, so the clapping, okay, the salute, the excitement that is generated. Okay, so here the leader becomes God, and history may India mein history is of Balban. If you know about Balban, he established himself as directly from the God. Okay, we also have non-biological leaders in India. Okay, so that that establishes the authority that can't be challenged anymore.
So, in the true spirit, I just wrote something down. Worship the man, not the institution. And, we talk about democracy as not, uh, belonging to a person, right? It is of the people, by the people, for the people. So, there are institutions, and institutions are, executive, judiciary, legislature, the press, sort of the founding, pillars of democracy. And in democracy, we say that we worship the institutions. That is what we work to preserve the sanctity and the meaning of the institution. And if the FBI or the intelligence or enforcement directorate or whatever the institution is serves a particular person or a particular agenda, then this becomes something very, very evil. So this is what authoritarianism at its peak looks like. So I think story goes on and on. I'll go to the next highlight. What happens? I think something happens before the rules are actually changed. So what happens is, when the rules change on paper versus the rules changing or
The
things
society,
not
the reality.
working, the reality changes before the rules. Exactly, Shabir. So I think it reflects in the way people live in society. So some marginalized classes, in this case the working class, is betrayed, and the working class is referred to or played by Boxer. Boxer is a horse. He sort of stands for the proletariat. He's loyal. He's loyal to Napoleon. He sings Napoleon's praises. He also says Napoleon is always right and I'll go keep working, because he believes in the promise of the seven commandments and the promise of the revolution. And he has been exploited. He has been asked to do more and more and more. And here's what happens to him. And he eventually dies. And when he dies, he is sent in a van. And everyone is saying goodbye, Boxer, goodbye. And Benjamin is basically sees through. He's a skeptic. He's the cynic in the in the farm. And he says, "Fools, you don't know what is going on. Do you know what is written on the other side of the van?" And they saw that the other side was Alfred Simmons, horse slaughterer and glue boiler Willingdon,
Wow.
dealer in hides and bone meal. So again, a very, very dark portrayal of the inhumanity of the person in power, that okay, I have to get everything out of this working class, exploit them even after their death, right? So um, Boxer the horse is being sent to the slaughterhouse after he's dead. So this is sort of the betrayal of the working class. And I'll just read a little bit, Shabir, and then I'll invite you.
Yeah.
So basically, Boxer is sent to the gallows, and then after some days, what they discover, on the appointed day or the banquet, a grocer's van drove up from Willingdon, delivered a large wooden crate at the farmhouse. There was uproarious singing. There was a violent quarrel, ended about 11 o'clock, tremendous crash of glass. That means somebody was drinking. There was a party, and the word went around that pigs had acquired the money to buy themselves another case of whiskey. Yeah, Shabir.
The first commandment was, okay, they will not drink alcohol, they will not sleep on bed, okay, they will not wear clothes. I think all of that now changes. The laws are completely different from what they started with. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there is um, clearly one by one those seven commandments, as Shabir just observed, are violated. Right? What you stood for is violated, and let's see where the story goes next. This is a point where what we predicted, that the commandments are rewritten, right? The commandments are rewritten. So Benjamin found something written on the wall. There was nothing there now except a single commandment. It ran, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Okay. That is the
One of the
new
most powerful quotes of our times. Okay, I'm sure many of you must have heard this. Some are more powerful than more equal than the others. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, Shabir, one more thing that comes to my mind, and this is something we discuss a lot in interview preparation, is this topic of inequality, inclusive growth, and at what point this becomes a oligarchy, and what's the defining line of that. These are very important things to think about. Kaushik, good example. Islamic regimes of West Asia enjoy similar authority. But I think what is more dark is when surreptitiously it looms behind your back and happens to you. So, in a very fair and just society, we are taking the example of America. And I will take the example of something that might happen closer to home also. If we don't protect the institutions that are so sacred. So, America was a very just society. It was known as the land of opportunities. It was a country of immigrants, all positive things. But now, protectionism, deep nationalism, hatred for immigrants, weaponization of FBI, weaponization of ICE, so many things are going on. So, we must look at that. So, Sanjay, you're saying caste hierarchy. Yes, caste hierarchy, you can say that. See, eventually it is a power struggle, and some people taking more power than others, some people are more equal than others. So, in a way, but in this example, in the animal farm example, is actually going to a very different level, right? It is controlling, in this case, it's the allegory is a farm, but it's controlling a whole nation, right? So you can, when you look at socialism as a concept, there's nothing wrong with socialism. Even today, we have democratic socialists. There is nothing wrong. But when we sometimes they say, right, that the Shabbir, this is my favorite, one of my favorite quotes. The road to hell was paved with good intentions. Okay.
Yes, yes.
The road to hell, and this could be a great essay topic too. So,
I remember an essay topic, I think 1998, Dave. I
okay,
used to discuss that quite a bit. The masks of imperialism.
yeah,
Okay, this was a topic in 1998. Okay, all the masks, the democracy as a mask, human rights as a mask, social welfare as a mask, all these excuses that we have to drive hegemony, the masks of nuclear non-proliferation, okay, the masks of free trade, fair trade, is sub, okay, are very smart narratives to ultimately, usurp power. Okay,
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Absolutely. And this, like I said, I think, um, worship the institutions, take care of the institutions, not the people. One of the things that we discussed in terms of essay topics is the ultimate value. Shabir, remember we are talking about implied values in every essay topic, and we said
yeah,
what is the overarching value that rises above everything else. We have know so many values: happiness, courage, belief, hope, this and that. We said humanity is the ultimate value. Um, and something has to be said about that. So, clearly, in this case, authoritarianism or dictatorship, what was done with the working class, and what's done with the animals in the farm, clearly, it's not something that humanity or animality in this case, but clearly, that fundamental value is violated. Okay, let's keep going. I think we're going towards the end, which is the last piece, and this is the darkest. To me, this was the darkest paragraph of the entire book. Let us read it end to end, and then we'll talk about this. 12 voices were shouting in anger, and they were all alike. No question now what had happened to the faces of the pigs. The creatures outside looked from pig to man, and from man to pig, and from pig to man again. But already it was impossible to say which was which. Okay? Um, it's extremely dark paragraph. I will invite all of you, Shabbir, you first, to provide a little bit of what you felt. Let's talk about feelings first. Okay, when these words are thrown at you, what is the feeling that it's giving you?
as a famous quote, I don't remember exact wording, it says, be careful who you fight, because you become the person you fight. Okay. So ultimately, you become the oppressor, um, though you started with fighting the oppressor. You cannot differentiate, okay, where you started, who you're fighting. So it's like, ultimately, it's destiny, life coming full cycle.
Yeah.
So suddenly the pigs have become Mr. Jones. Maybe Mr. Jones looks better now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Nishant, very dark, absolutely. And Shabir, absolutely right. I think this is, I mean, irony is a small word for what Orwell has tried to do here. And there is more. If you like irony, I would invite you to read 1984. There is even more irony there. But clearly, the tables have turned, right? Pigs have become the very oppressors, like Shabbir said. So I would say the revolution has failed, right? Revolution has failed.
Agenda was fight corruption, and you become most corrupt.
Most corrupt.
The
Exactly.
agenda was, throw the colonizers, and you become the new colonizers.
Yeah. And the oppressed are still the oppressed. Yeah.
So
So
in the Soviet Revolution, they say, okay, the czars were removed, okay, and replaced by bureaucrats.
yeah,
The kings were replaced by the bureaucracy of the state.
yeah, yeah. And who was the czar in this story? Mr. Jones, right? He was the czar. He ruled over the animals, and they had the rebellion, but this is what it has come to. So yeah, extremely dark. Nishant, vicious loop. You become the Athar Ahmed. You become the person you hate. I think absolutely true. It's not just an individual that you have become from good to evil. You basically change the entire landscape of the ruling class, right? So basically you have toppled one ruling class and you have replaced them with another ruling class with absolutely no change to the people of the world who actually believed in your rebellion, who worked with you to make it successful, who worked after that tirelessly to build a just society. So these are the symptoms that you saw across the highlights, the symptoms of how slowly a society changes, how it morphs, and the dark underbelly of something like dictatorship. Neutralization of opposition. You saw that. You saw the manipulation of the press or weaponization of the press, which was Squealer. You saw betrayal of the working class. You saw so many undercurrent and themes. Power pollutes, Kaushik, absolutely. Yeah, Shabir, closing thoughts.
Addressing Rakesh. Rakesh has joined us on the chat there,
Yeah.
our enrolled student. Rakesh, I hope you have listened through. I don't know if you are still there or not. We didn't ask you earlier. So ये सारे ideas, अब जब examples दो ना, don't give examples of the regular kinds anymore. Me and Deb are tired of वही Gandhi, Buddha, Mandela. So now you have got better list of people to talk about, books to talk about. Okay. So see how you can, use all of this to enrich your essays. Yeah. Power corrupts absolutely. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And you can see this trend in every society. Okay. Whether Pakistan, Soviet, the US, France, Hungary. Okay. You see this in India today, in the past, China. Yeah, Dave, I think
Yeah,
that's
so
about it for.
I wanted to end with some potential essay topics, right? I think already one of you gave, Prince, you gave power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's good. I would also say equality. Is it an ideal or illusion? I think we um, should write something around it. I will present you with an essay topic around this theme. The other thing is, what is the true price of freedom? Right? I'm just giving you ideas of to think about. What is the true price of freedom? You fought for freedom, but what do you get out of that? Right? The other thing is, obviously about propaganda and how um, propaganda is taking on a hugely different shape in the modern world, right? And I think there is so much to talk about here. So much research has been done in terms of social media, and not just social media. Social media is a loose term, but everything around synthesized information that is being fed to you.
Media itself, the dark
Yeah,
media.
huge one. And then, what is the journey of a revolution? um, True journey of a revolution, and is it from, in this case it moved from idealism to tyranny. I was thinking, Shabir, I will give an essay for our Telegram channel around this, that is the true journey of a revolution from idealism to tyranny, and let students write about. So see, some of these essay topics you can think about it, but I think this was a good end-to-end view of power corruption, equality, social justice, all the things that I think we saw on page one. If I can go back, um, yeah, all these themes. Hopefully, you got some meat out of it. I think that's all I had, Shabir, from my
Yeah.
side. Closing thoughts.
So today was a very different day for all of you. Not the way we discussed essays earlier or evaluated. Uh, you must tell us what you think and um, what could be the next book you want us to discuss. And one request, guys. I mean, if you truly benefit from all of this, it'll help us if you guys spread the word a bit. Tell your friends to come in. Okay, maybe talk to your fellow aspirants to come in. Because if you are in a friend circle working together, if the group can learn some common ways how to write and express, you benefit. Okay, discussing these things in your group. Then अरे होता है क्या ना, you are lone person talking and thinking, you can't discuss with anybody around you. So see if you can get your friends also, okay, whoever you think can benefit from this process, and do let us know if you want us to take up some other book. Yeah, and my suggestion to all of you is take the summary from Yuki, the summary of Animal Farm, pull it out, or maybe we can pull out and share it there itself.
Sure.
1-2 page write up. Okay, so you have kind of read a book. Okay, so on the Telegram channel, do put in your suggestion what book you would like to take up next. Okay, thanks, Dave. You've taken quite a bit of effort through this.
No, I absolutely enjoyed it, and I think thank you to our students for suggesting this. Like Shabir, you said, we don't do this just to get views. We do this so that students actually benefit. So if you are benefiting, definitely tell your friends. It is something that we do out of our passion, and we do because we love to see a difference in your writing, right? We love to see if we can make a difference to your life in some way. So absolutely would love the forward. We love the additional like, we love the additional help from you guys to keep this going, because if we make this bigger, then there is incentive to continue what we are doing and putting in so much effort for. So yeah, absolutely, thank you. Okay,
Kaushik, we have
Shikhar.
done that, no? At the end, Dave did talk about the potential topics, isn't it? Maybe we'll
Yeah,
enter those again on the essay channel itself. So we have done that, Kaushik.
Kaushik, I'll
Okay.
send in the Telegram channel, I'll send a detailed list.
Okay. Have a nice whatever is left of your day. Good night, guys. Bye.